This update from Parkinson's Queensland focuses on the recent survey that we sent out to you all. I wanted to share with you some of the results of the survey and also tell you a little bit about the things that we are planning and that we are going to be doing that will address some of the responses to the questions that we posed. Now, I've got a sheet here so that I don't forget any of the statistics, and I wanted to share those with you. So we had approximately 340 responses. 76% of you who responded are someone living with Parkinson's disease, and 84% of you are members of Parkinson's Queensland, which is really refreshing to know. 72% of you were aged over 65, which is on par with what we believe to be the demographic of the Parkinson's community, at around 80% over 65 and 20% younger onset. 40% of you access information and resources and support once or twice a year from us, but only a third of you access them monthly. And about 3/4 of you are still accessing our information sheets and booklets, which is really pleasing to know. And our Connections newsletter is also popular with more than 2/3 of people accessing that. There are a range of places that you told us that you go for information, and in addition to Parkinson's Queensland, of course, which means that you're always looking for more information, which is also very good for us to know. When we asked you what would have made a difference to you when you were first diagnosed, we gave you a range of options, and 2/3 of you said that you would have liked all of them, which is understandable. That confirms to us that more needs to be done in those early days of diagnosis, and that people don't have the tools or the resources to get off on the right foot when they're first diagnosed. It also validates for us the need for Parkinson's Queensland to develop a program to assist those that are in the early stages after diagnosis. You also mentioned a range of other things you felt would have made a difference, including a Parkinson's nurse. Well, we have one now, so I remind you to please make sure that you reach out to our nurse, Steph, because she's here to answer your questions. You also told us that you would have benefited from help navigating the NDIS and My Aged Care, and I'll talk about a little bit more about that later. We then spoke or focused our questions on the support group network, and just over a third of you have told us that you attended a support group once a month, and 1/3 of you have never attended a support group, and about 5% of you responded that you didn't have a support group near you, therefore you wouldn't attend, but only half of those people said that they would attend one if one was available in your area. So I guess for us, that's a really important conversation about where support groups are currently, what type of support they provide. So we are undergoing a review of what we believe support groups could be in the future, and we will be reaching out to you again for some feedback on that. Some other comments and feedback that I wanted to share with you, and I've highlighted some of particular note. We want a newly diagnosed program was the response by a few people. It would be great if our publication, our Connections newsletter, focused on news and articles about new technologies and potential treatment options relative to Australia. I wanted to make a comment on that because we do receive phone calls and emails from people telling us that they've tried this new technology or that new technology and that it's worked for them, and therefore we should be telling everyone about it. As the peak body for Parkinson's disease in Queensland, we need to be certain that any new technology has undergone, or potential treatment has been thoroughly researched, peer-reviewed, and has the necessary regulatory approvals. So it's very difficult for us to promote anything outside of that framework because obviously, we are responsible for the health and safety of all of you, and we've got obligations with state and federal governments. So, it's not as easy for us just because we hear of something great that someone tells us has worked for them, for us to let everyone know about that. So I just wanted to be clear. Sometimes it's not that we don't want to share that information, it's just that we have got some regulatory frameworks that we operate within, and that limits our ability to do that. Another interesting comment, which we are aware of, a lack of awareness by doctors and allied health professionals and the wider community. Other people want an advertising campaign to make Parkinson's understood to the general population. And a few comments around our need as an organisation to diversify the support that we provide to all of you. So I wanted to share with you some of the actions and some of the things that we're doing at the moment. So we've begun work on phase 1 of a newly diagnosed program. This first phase will focus on an education piece to guide people through those first 12 to 18 months from diagnosis. It will also include education for family members who might want to know how to support their loved one with Parkinson's. So we've already started that process, and we are working on that first educational component. We're at the moment assessing how we might provide support to those of you wanting to navigate the very complex NDIS application process, and plans are underway to look at how we might develop a service for you in that space. And also, as part of our membership of the Parkinson's Australia Federation, we're looking at a national education program for GPs and allied health professionals, and we're also discussing a national awareness campaign. And Parkinson's Queensland, I'm pleased to say, Parkinson's Queensland has been instrumental in driving a lot of that discussion through our president and the chair of Parkinson's Australia, Professor George Malik. So that is that's very pleasing to see. So, look, I wanted to finish off by I guess letting you all know that there is definitely no shortage of things for us to do, and we've got lots of ideas, and we know that there are more ways that we can support all of you. Of course, our challenge, as always, is finding the funding to do the work that we want to do and the resources. And the reality currently is that the Queensland Government provides no funding to Parkinson's Queensland, and we get a limited amount of funding from the federal government. So everything that we do, or everything that we would like to do for you, we need to go and fundraise. And of course, I'd like things to happen tomorrow, but it's not as easy as that. But I wanted to assure you that we are looking at new ways to continue to develop and provide more support for all of you, and we will continue to do that over the coming months and years. And regardless of whether or not you responded to the survey, we do value and welcome your feedback. So please let us know if there is anything that is on your mind. But as I said, I've just given you a very quick highlight of some of the things that we're looking at rolling out next year, subject, of course, to funding and resourcing, but we are working on them, and we will come back to you over the coming weeks and months with some more information, and also to get your feedback on some of these new initiatives that we're providing. Look, that's all from me for this week. I wanted to make sure that you got to hear from me about the survey. We really appreciate your responses. Thank you for doing that. It is something that we will do again, if not next year, certainly early in 2024, to make sure that we continue to keep a finger on the pulse of what our community expects from us and wants us to do. That's all from me for this week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.